Attempts to reform the European Convention on Human Rights are another issue that this government is dealing with. They want to make it easier, they say, to deport foreign criminals and agree offshore migrant deals, but they're doomed to fail, according to the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick. I want to talk to Guy Dampier now, who is a senior researcher on Nationhood at the Prosperity Institute. Guy, thank you for joining me this morning. What exactly does Keir Starmer want to do? Because he has a resolution of the 46 members, which is very woolly, and there's not really much substance to it that I can see. And then there are 27 members that have another resolution that may well slightly change how we deal with human rights and how we deal with deporting migrants as well who are here illegally. Just take us through it and tell me what you think.
Good morning. So, as you say, what we've got is we've got a joint statement by 27 of the 46 members, and what they're essentially calling for is they're saying we need to be able to deport foreign criminals. Currently, under Articles 3 and Article 8, that's often blocked. And so what they're essentially saying is we want to change the way that the convention is interpreted so that we can deport foreign criminals without those articles becoming an issue. Now, the problem is, in order to change the actual convention itself, you need all 46 to agree, and they're not going to. Very noticeably, France and Germany are not part of this 27. There seems incredibly low chance that they will, and some of the other ones would only agree basically if you gave them a bung or something else. So that's not going to happen. Secondly, you can go through a long procedural reform. David Cameron did this, it was tried before that, and at the end of the day what you get are some minor reforms that don't really change anything. And then, as Robert Jenrick pointed out, even if in a wonderful world David Lammy and Richard Homer do indeed get all the reforms that they want, nonetheless that doesn't affect all the other things that the ECHR has impact on, including democratic politics, the economy, and all sorts of other areas. So it's a well-intentioned but extremely unlikely to succeed effort.
David Lammy, the mastermind himself, and Richard Hermer, the Attorney General, if they don't, the crack team there, if they don't get the results we want, I don't know who can. Labour is spinning this and saying all 46 are agreeing, this is all marvellous and wonderful, but actually what the 46 have agreed to, as you've said there, Guy, is pretty woolly and not very much. It's the 27, it's the other resolution that's more important, but actually persuading those other countries, they're not going to be persuaded, are they?
They're not going to be persuaded. I mean, a lot of them have got very strong views on this, and as I said, France and Germany, who are two of the most important countries, neither of them have signed the statement by the 27. So clearly they're not in agreement with even the most basic levels. That means that nothing really is going to happen, and without having all 46, you're up to asking the court itself to change things, which it could do because of the living instrument doctrine, which allows it to reinterpret the convention in light of modern events. That's always been used to expand it, generally in a left-wing direction. Now, they could conceivably expand it rightwards in a more sensible direction, but they've shown absolutely no indication of doing so. And I think if you believe they're going to do that, then, well, Santa Claus will be paying you a visit, and I'm sure you're leaving milk and cookies out for him.
Well, indeed. And the interesting thing, of course, and I mean, Father Christmas will be paying me a visit. I'm looking forward to it. But Guy, it's interesting actually, just in regard to what the plan is here, and the fact that Keir Starmer really thinks, or would appear to think, that he can get a serious difference here. That's just going to be very, very difficult to do. And the Conservative Party and Reform UK are saying they want to withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Is that in itself going to solve all the problems when it comes to deporting people who are here illegally? Because surely so much of the European legislation is embedded as part of the structure of our constitution. Even if we withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights, it's not a panacea, is it? Because it's in case law, it's in convention, isn't it? It would take much more. I just worry about politicians when they come on and say, if we withdraw from the ECHR, all our problems will be over. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely true. If you just think leaving the ECHR will fix everything, then you're wrong. But that's because we have to unpick, as you say, some of the domestic stuff. So the Human Rights Act is the key thing you'd have to go after. That puts those conventional rights into domestic law. So you'd have to leave the ECHR, you'd have to get rid of the HRA or seriously reform it. But although some of these bits are tricky, we have to remember, Parliament is sovereign. If they want to change things, including case law, they can simply change the law. Yeah. Now, at the moment, they're more constrained, because if they try and change the law and it would breach the convention, then judges can say it would breach the convention and then parliamentarians have to think again. If you're outside of the ECHR, however, you can just do it. So it would be very doable, but they do need a plan. It can't just be, we're going to leave and that's it.
Guy, thank you. This Guy Dampier there, who is senior researcher on Nationhood at the Prosperity Institute, a think tank there in Westminster. Fiona